What challenges are you guys facing now that I can help you with here today? Because they never go away. There's always challenges. I've been married. I got my 16-year wedding anniversary is next month. We got 5 kids, and a dog who won't stop barking all the time. I think the dog has his own personality problems, right? So it never stops. There are always challenges to face together as a couple. What are you guys facing right now?
I think our communication is still really good. I mean, great, actually. One of the biggest ones is shifting from a marriage-style relationship to still being in the same space, so no separation, but broken up, and then back to being in a serious relationship. Like, what are the right steps to take to make sure that those feelings don't come up later? There's no resentment. It's not something that just gets pushed down. We can deal with it and then move on.
Because I do think something that, to her point, we actually never had a real conversation about how to heal from what happened in that situation. We just realized that was the problem. And, for a lot of situations myself, I'm like, isolate incident, sweep it under the rug because it's probably not going to happen again. So since that, like I said, everything has changed with her. And so I don't foresee that being a problem, obviously being chemically induced in a lot of situations. Sure. But that damage has still been done, and we haven't done anything to correct that.
Gotcha. Most couples are afraid to bring it up because they're afraid it's going to ruin the good feelings we have right now.
Right.
You guys are in second honeymoon phase. Everything's happy and wonderful and fluffy. I hear that. Okay. There are some very safe ways of doing it and some ways that will actually bond the two of you more deeply. It is definitely something to get resolved now. I remember there's 16 years with my wife. I remember we went through a rough patch and then we had a second honeymoon and everything was wonderful. And we thought, okay, we're past it. We don't even have to talk about all the bad feelings that were there before. And you just sort of go on. And a year later, one of you will say, something you said a year ago has kind of been in my head and I've been trying to ignore it. And I've been trying not to remember that thing you said. And I try to tell myself every day that it's not real and it's just bothering me. Can I to ask you about it? And the other person goes, okay, what is this going to be? And then you sort of initiate the conversation. That's one thing I can recommend to the two of you. And don't tell me what they are yet, right? But is there anything maybe that was said or anything that kind of still echoes in your guys' heads or in your ears? Anything you wonder, do they still feel that way? Anything like that for the two of you?
I don't have anything that was said necessarily that echoes, at least off the top of my head right now. But I definitely have things that happened. So I'm very sensitive to minor changes in my environment. Sure. And that's where I feel like I pick up on, I'm like, I don't know. I feel like this is about to happen. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you why. I just feel it. Mm-hmm. And so there are things during the time that little things will happen. And I'm like, I don't like the way I'm feeling right now.
Sure.
Because it reminds me of how I felt at the time.
Aha. Okay.
So it's nothing that was said, but more so behavioral patterns or tendencies that will happen. So
your brain is sparking off, warning you that it could happen again, even though you know it won't.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Rational left brain knows it won't. Emotional right brain is screaming at you.
Yep. And then they get stuck in the middle.
Very common. Very common.
Stuck. Got to look at all the scenarios.
How long does it usually take you? Do you cycle on that for 10 minutes, for 3 hours, a day? How long does it take you to come back to base normal?
It depends. Because there's a lot of factors that tie into that. First off, have I eaten today?
Sure. Yes, 100%.
If I'm hungry, I can't think as rationally as I could. Yep. What other stressors do I have going on in my life? And luckily, he's allowed me to not have very many stressors at all.
Well done, Axel. Well done.
Yeah, that is a really important thing for me. On average, probably 20 to 30 minutes.
Okay.
Where I get stuck and I try to shift out of it. And then I'm like, actually, I shifted out long enough. I'm coming back so I can reel in, be like, okay, I already knew this was ridiculous, but now I can explain why it's actually ridiculous.
Yep.
So,
are they decreasing in frequency? Is it about the same? Is it getting better? Is it kind of just, you just have to keep fighting it? What is it for you right now?
It's definitely getting better.
They're getting better.
Yeah,
okay.
Definitely getting better. Since we've been back together, it's definitely been decreasing.
So you're settling in. Okay. We could leave it alone and it would eventually probably get mostly better on its own, but it's actually a great opportunity to actually resolve it and then bond you guys in a tighter way.
Mhm.
As we resolve those things together, it forms a catalyst to make you guys actually trust each other more. So rather than just do it on your own necessarily. One thing that we can do with this is whenever you have those feelings, absolutely yes, resolve it on your own and try to regulate self, because
Mhm.
I don't want you rushing to him like, oh, I had a feeling and Adam said, because then he's gonna hate my guts. So we don't want to do that.
Very true.
Yeah, see, and
Yeah.
it's fair.
We talked about that too.
What we do need to do, and what would be really great, is notifying him of like, hey, I've realized that when these certain things happen, not your fault, but it does inspire this weird feeling in me. So if these things ever happen, is it comfortable for you if I ask you a quick question or just get maybe just some basic reassurance on it? Or if you just explain just one more sentence, a little extra context or something like that? What would be most helpful for you? Is it like a, hey, something's about to happen? Do you just need a hug? Do you just need a burger? Like, because maybe that's it. Maybe you can let him know and then he can tell you like, hey, you haven't eaten today. But what do you need? What would help you feel more at peace and also would help you feel like he cares about you?
I mean, honestly, he really does a good job on his own with that.
Wonderful.
For me, the biggest issue is how do I recognize when the most appropriate timing is? Because what I will do, because of my anxious thought pattern,
Uh-oh.
is I will try to downplay a lot of my own feelings. Just like, oh, it's really not that big a deal. And then I'll put it aside. And I want to bring it up in the most appropriate timing. And that is where I will get stuck in the left and right brain of thinking is like, I know this is a thing. I need to talk about it. It's not a big deal.
Oh, no.
But then overreaction, like trying to overdo it. And so just be like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
hey.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know what it's like from my perspective for him to be like, hey, I want to talk later.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
That's
oh,
death.
no.
That's death.
If you like this clip, I know you're going to enjoy the full episode. You can watch it right here.